I don't care that someone's only a 4-time All-Star when they should have been an 8-time. Like, cool, whatever. Like, I want to see. I never want to see Rudy Gobert in an All-Star game.
Which audience has the least amount of ball knowledge, NFL or NBA?
I don't know. I don't really be locked in with NFL fans.
Well, if you saw the Pro Bowl voting
crazy,
came
bro.
out,
they're nutcases,
But
bro.
what
the
does
Pro Bowl
All-Star
voting came
voting
out.
have
The
to- what
Ravens
does
had
All-Star
9
voting have to
players
do with
and
ball
5
knowledge?
players off their defense and 2 from their secondary, even though they had one of the worst secondaries in the NFL this year. So it's also like a name brand thing.
But what does ball knowledge have to do with All-Star voting or All-Pro voting?
What does ball knowing have to do with it?
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea of the fan voting or a voting period is that you would be able to kind of select based on watchability who the best players are, but also I think who who has the most fan engagement. So I think those two things are mixed in the NBA. But I think like ideally you would want your fans to like, oh, these are the players that have played the best. But I think the problem is like people are so attached to names because I think it's harder to find. But I also think this is part of the NBA. If they don't market players well, like if they're not telling the story of Franz Wagner this year, or they're not telling the Evan Mobley story this year, or the Donovan Mitchell story super well this year, that's where I think they can get like what you're looking at with the voting now. Like where you're getting Paul George, Embiid, Paolo Banchero. Like these players aren't really playing. You know what I mean?
But how was that the NBA's problem or job to make sure that you're watching the games to know what's happening? You just want if you just want to be out here voting without any information. Uninformed voting is the problem. You're voting uninformed. Do your own research. How can I blame the NBA for not telling the story?
People don't really do that though in voting period dogs.
Yeah, well, I know. You know, that's never mind. I was about to say something. Never mind. So I'm not gonna tell you. But
he's about to talk him into something, Swiper. So stop, yo.
Yeah, Swiper, you almost had him.
but Swiper though, like, how is it the NBA's job to make sure that like I shouldn't have to tell the story of Franz Wagner? You should have been tapped in. You should have been watching the games. You don't have to watch every game and every second of every game to know how Franz Wagner's been putting in work this year.
Right.
To vote for Paul George above Franz Wagner, I think it's borderline criminal.
Well, if that's the case, then Ox, then why are you putting us in charge of having these people being seen? Because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the fans, and if you are a fan, I'm expecting you. I ain't expecting you to know the game inside and outside. No, I'm not expecting that. But I am expecting you as a fan to know, one, who's on your team, know who's good on your team. And when the All-Star ballot comes out, just because somebody's name is on it for the Orlando Magic, you should know whether or not this guy's been playing. But again, we're talking about fans, which is short for fanatic. And if my guy, his name is on the ballot, even though he played 5 games and Joel Embiid has played more games and played better, I can't stand Philly. So I'm going to vote for my guy. That's just me being a fan. So you've put these people, the fans, in charge of this, and you've made them responsible for who's going to be in the All-Star game. So when you're talking about it's not the NBA's job. Well, they're the ones who put the fans. They're the ones who put the fans in a position to vote for who's in the All-Star game. Now they have changed it. They did do that where they didn't make them solely responsible, but they are now partially responsible for this.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the chat and I see most everybody are kind of on the same wavelength that Mars is on right now, and I guess I got to respect that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people they're not really tripping about
what's that wavelength.
More. Well, not really.
Who we want to watch? That's who we vote for.
It's more so about who's my favorite player. Who do I want to see in the game? And I can respect that. I can respect that. You know, that's fair. I don't really have a problem with it. I guess as much as I just think it's kind of like.
See, y'all ran chill off with that participation trophy shit.
I just don't. As a matter of fact, I'm mad at you. Merry Christmas. I just don't think that's the measuring of being a casual or not. Like I'm gonna put it all the way out. I voted for Bronny James every day. Mm-hmm. I know I'm not a casual. I know basketball more than 99% of people who are voting. I promise you that. I know I do. But I voted for Bronny because I want to see LeBron and Bronny in the All-Star game.
Who do you think should have the most voting power? Because I know you don't like the award stuff.
I think the fans should have 100% of the voting power.
Do you think for
100%?
Yes, I think the fans should decide.
So no checks and balances at all.
I think the fans should decide who's in the All-Star game, a game that is made for the fans to be entertained. Yes, I think they should decide who's in that game.
So how does performances weigh out then? Like if I'm a dude that's averaging 32, let's say 32, 6, and 5. I've been balling. My team is, let's say my team's a 5th seed. We might not be at the top, but we're playing good. I'm balling.
Are you entertaining?
Maybe not to the fans. Let's say I got a boring game.
That's tough.
But I'm getting it done.
Then that's tough. You're not an all-star. That's tough.
Good basketball is entertaining.
That's crazy.
That's tough.
That's crazy.
That's tough. You're not an all-star.
That's the issue, Mars. But see, Mars, what you're asking for right now is the reason a lot of people are turned off from the NBA. What some people consider as entertaining is terrible basketball, and after a while, it just tastes like shit. You know, like, you know what I mean? If we allow our kids to eat dessert every day for dinner, lunch, and breakfast, you know what I'm saying? That's bad for them. It's gonna ruin their stomachs, their brains, everything. All the sugar, it's bad for you.
So you're saying you got to do what's best for the fans, even if they don't appreciate what's best for them.
Exactly.
I understand.
Somebody got to look out for these people.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Jordan.
I just like this ultimately comes back to me like not caring about accolades. So like I don't care that someone's only a 4-time all-star when they should have been an 8-time. Like, cool, whatever. Like, I want to see. I never want to see Rudy Gobert in an all-star game. I never want to see it.
Do you think he deserved to be an all-star game?
Yeah, he deserved. In terms of his impact on the game during those seasons, yes, he's deserved to be an all-star. He's provided all-star level impact in multiple years. But there will never be a season in which I want to see him in the all-star game. There are players who are clearly worse than him who I would much rather see in an all-star game. Like, I will never vote for Rudy Gobert.
Do you think this is a generational gap, Mars, where like there used to be more of an onus on like level of play all-star, and now it's more so, I think, more contention on like watchability, clips, like how entertaining you are, as opposed to even if your play doesn't necessarily equate to like your all-star level player, like traditionally it would have been in the 90s or 2000s or even 2010. Do you feel like there were kind of shifting to a new era where your generation in particular is just like, whoever I want to see, that's who needs to be there regardless of level of play?
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at Prize Picks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With Prize Picks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections and every single stat line imaginable to make your Prize Picks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download Prize Picks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with Prize Picks. So what are you waiting for? Download Prize Picks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. Prize Picks. Run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy.
Mars, and while you answer that question, also answer, what about Jokic? Would you like to see Jokic in an all-star game?
Okay. I don't know if it's always been, once again, this is now me speaking in hindsight about things that I wasn't around at the time to know how people were voting. But even back then, I feel like in the 90s and 2000s, a lot of the best players also were some of the most entertaining players for the most part. But then even then, it's like there were guys who I think were playing at all-star levels, but didn't make the all-star game because they weren't necessarily the most entertaining. I think Reggie Miller is an example. He only made 5 all-star games. Reggie Miller, in my opinion, was one of the best 2 guards, one of the best guards in the league, but he ran around off-ball shooting jumpers all game. He wasn't like breaking people down off the dribble. He wasn't playing that entertaining brand of basketball. And Yao Ming made it his first year because he had all of China voting for him. He wasn't an all-star level player, but he got the vote because of popularity. They spoke about Grant Hill making it play in only 3 games. I mean, Grant Hill definitely wasn't playing like an all-star, but he was Grant Hill, so he got the vote. So I think like that's always happened. I think just now, I think maybe it might be happening more, but I also think the league's talent pool is so high now that you're gonna have players who are all playing at a really high level, and people are going to favor the more entertaining one. Which maybe wasn't the case back before because the more entertaining players might have just been drastic.
Do you think the NBA is
good? Do
you think they're prepared for remember Zaza Pachulia, Mars? He was leading in fan voting. Do you think the NBA
sounds like he should have been an All-Star? But
I'm saying, but do you think the NBA is prepared for like that generational shift? Like we're so committed to a troll, we'll make it happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like we have a player that clearly doesn't deserve.
Like
Brian. Well, I'm saying, like, we're so committed.
Yes,
to the
I tried to get Bronny in, but I didn't have 100,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
so
Jordan. They're in the voting populace. They're so committed to the troll that if Bronny James was at the top of the ticket, there would be people that would be continuously pushing him to the top of the ticket. But like,
I think that's their right, and I think that's their right.
Votes wrong.
I think changing the percentages that the fans have an impact on because someone you think isn't worthy of being an all-star is going to make it. At that point, you're going against what the fans want, and then you wonder why people are mad at your products. Like,
why would you put somebody that's
Pachulia for some reason? Let them see Zaza Pachulia.
They can see Zaza Pachulia. They got 82 games in the season. The Warriors made a playoff run. They can see him in the playoffs. You want to see Zaza Pachulia? You want to see Bronny James? Go check his G League games out. You want to see Bronny James? Go pull up to the.
They want to see Bronny guard. They want to see Bronny guarding LaMelo Ball. They want to see Bronny guarding Donovan Mitchell.
Wow.
Hey, well then look.
But that's what we want to see.
If they want to do that, they need to DM Bronny and say, "Get your ass in the gym."
They want to see Bronny throwing a lob to Bronny.
He is in the gym, bro. I thought, he in the gym. Don't do that.
He in the gym, but he not in the same gym as them.
Oh, he in the girls' gym.
Could be in February.
He in the auxiliary gym. He in the auxiliary gym. He ain't on the main stage.
I just don't.
Thank you for calling it the auxiliary gym, Jordan. We don't call it the girls' gym no more.
My bad.
That's not politically correct.
The auxiliary gym, my bad.
That ain't politically correct.
Yeah, but nah, I still stand by the notion that the best players that have performed the best need to be an All-Star game. I still respect the All-Star game. I still don't see it as even though it may be a troll game, I still respect the accolade and I still respect the acknowledgement of you being one of the 12 best players in the conference.
I think that's the generational spirit. I think our generation up probably. I'm not saying all. I'm not. This is generalization, by the way. Our generation up still values it as like an achievement based on play. I think what the shift is Gen Z alpha and then beta eventually when they come up. Like, I think the shift has been like, to Marge's point, whatever we want to see, this is what the game is for. However I want to design this is what it will be. It's going to be the same way it is like in NBA 2K, like when you play like with your own creative player, you can prove whoever you want out there. You can make it whatever you want. The same thing with Fortnite. Like, I can make it whatever I want. I honestly think that's kind of where the direction is headed. Like, this is a free for all based on my desires, kind of thing.
Well, Swiper, you know what's actually funny? You know what's actually funny? So you got the 12 All-Stars, right, from every conference. Mm-hmm. And remember, they're breaking it into 4 teams. So now you have that 4th team that's selected by, I don't know who it's selected by. Maybe that 4th team should be selected by the fans. Dudes who aren't all-stars, but dudes who the fans are fond of. So then you throw Bronny out there. You throw...
No, the 4th team is the Rising Stars team.
Throw Bronny on the Rising Stars team. If you're not an all-star, you're a Rising Star.
Well, Rising Star would have to be. It's only young players, but like, sure, if you want to, if fans could have the full pick on the Rising Stars, that's fine. But to answer Os's question, no, I would never vote for Jokic in the All-Star game either.
Why?
He don't do nothing in the All-Star game. He just jog up the court and then just throw a pass every once in a while. He don't do nothing. I don't want to see that. Get him up. He don't want to be there. I don't want him there.
Jordan, it's a difference between being recognized as an all-star, which I think Mars recognizes that Joker is an all-star. But think about what the fans care about in the all-star game. It's supposed to be an exhibition. I would never
vote for Luka or Jokic. They don't do nothing in the game. They just be. They don't take the game serious. I don't want to see that.
But I think they don't do nothing because nobody does stuff. Like, they play so lackadaisical. Like,
and they look the worst doing it. So unfortunately, they're the biggest casualties.
I would agree that they look the worst doing it. But I want to see everybody play hard. Like, what can we do to get them to play hard in the All-Star game again, man? Like, maybe go back to East versus West. Maybe, like, I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Doing that now. It is the East versus West, but it's broken up.
They got like 4 groups. Yeah.
Well, here's the difference. Isn't that the same? What's the difference between what they're doing now and picking your own teams? Like when you're at the park, which is what they did before.
Man, I don't know.
All this whole thing,
I guess. Shit, I don't know.
All this whole thing boils down
to
the reason why, and I'm a broken record, because the reason why these guys won't compete in the All-Star game, the reason why these guys won't compete is because they're afraid of being shown up. That's it in a nutshell. Their game,
I would agree. I probably would agree.
Their game isn't what they stand on. The other things is what they stand on. Then their game is secondary. And if they get shown up, what that does is that can damage their brand. And they don't want to risk that. And on top of that,
I probably would agree.
They don't want to risk getting hurt. So the idea of them, why would I risk getting hurt? Even though I watched Klay Thompson get hurt working out, 10 up 10 is
right. I was about to say you can't think like that as basketball.
You could get hurt anywhere. So until these guys are back in the space where they want to compete.
Chill, what do you think that is, though?
Basis,
do you think that
social media
started? Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think that started with like media, and I would say before us, because this is YouTube media, but like media, basically the whole thing about like the shift of sports when Jordan started winning with the championship, and then All-Star games were like great, but like this doesn't mean anything for like what actually matters, like winning MVPs, being all NBA, scoring titles, winning a championship. Do you think that like the shift happened when there was a deprioritization of like regular season involved play? Because remember, the NFL is at the same place, Chill. Their Pro Bowl sucks so much they got rid of it.
That's the worst. That's the worst All-Star Pro Bowl game in history. Bro.
But you know who has good All-Star games though? The MLB and NHL. They both still, but there are implications for that though. Go ahead.
Sorry, but to your point about when did it change? You remember when Kobe Bryant and LeBron was facing off in the All-Star game? And Kobe sunned his ass and LeBron was crying at the end of the game? That's when it changed. That's when
what year was it that D Wade broke Kobe's nose?
16. Oh, 50. I want to say 15. I think it was either 15.
That's good basketball, Morris.
I would argue a lot of things changed since then too. I would argue a lot of things changed since then.
But Morris, they said LeBron was crying at the end of the game.
In tears?
He was getting locked. I mean, it was what
they said he was crying at the end of the game because Kobe locked that shit up.
So
tell him to get better and go get a bucket.
To answer your question, Swiper. Well, number one is two things, because the All-Star game did matter. Like you talked about all NBAs and MVPs, like the All-Star game MVP. There was a time when that did matter, when you were the All-Star game MVP. It doesn't matter as much. I feel like in addition to contracts being what they are and social media with guys, with things being instant. So like if you get crossed up, we can put that on Twitter, we can put that on the internet, and you can quickly see it and it can go viral, and guys aren't really keen on getting embarrassed instead of them just worrying about their games. They don't have to worry about that anymore. They worry more about their brand, and they worry about other things that they have to invest in, and that could jeopardize that if I get embarrassed. So I think it's coupled with the contracts and the money that they get up front and what social media has brought to the table.
Well, and also too, y'all, and some of y'all know this. I'm not insinuating you don't. And if you're in the chat, I don't want to insinuate you do not know this. The players have openly said it's not even the game. We're tired from all the All-Star stuff, the festivities, the interviews, the meetings, all the stuff you do with the NBA, the off-court stuff, which again is phenomenal. The stuff they have, the requirement they have for community services. It's a lot. The whole lead up into the All-Star game is not restful at all. And so I think for them, they're like, well, I don't want to give 100% to this. And then 2 days later, chill, I got to go back and start a grueling regular season again, where they're playing versus the most spaced out NBA and the most physical NBA ever. I actually think like
two things. So
I was about to say, Swiper, do you think there's a coincidence that back then they appreciated and they was getting paid less money, and now they're getting paid more money, and all of a sudden we got these bunch of damn excuses?
I mean, but
you think there's coincidence to that?
But that's the same thing with anything in life, right? Once you get obscenely wealthy, I think it's hard to care about the things that you used to care about. I think that's typically like how life works, right? So maybe,
but in your career,
that's why I be like, boo-hoo. Show up, do these interviews, sign these autographs, be where you're supposed to be, get back on that plane and get back to the regular season. I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear no crying.
Because Drake was making bangers, and then Drake figured he could make more money, and then he came out with "Find My Love." Hey,
that was a banger.
Then, no, it wasn't. That song sucked.
It was. That was a banger. That was a banger.
That pop rap sucked.
Hey, it's people that thought it was, you might not have thought it was a banger. It was people that thought it was a banger. But here's one thing though. I don't get the correlation though, because Drake still kept making bangers. He was still in the studio. He was still up late nights, and he was still working early mornings. He was still getting on jets and going show to show.
When was that great album?
Okay, well, wait a minute. Wait.
I don't know what
music is in the ear of the beholder.
No, we getting off the rails. To swipe us point.
Drizzler's love.
Get back on.
Okay, so we getting off the point here. Swiper, to your question. Number one, the NBA. These are the least amount. I think last season this is the least amount of back-to-backs that they've had in the history of the NBA last season. That's number one. Number two, the All-Star game, it's now a week. So it used to be the All-Star game was Sunday, and we get right back to it Monday or Tuesday. These guys don't play for almost another week. So they've been off for almost, and that doesn't include the guys. That doesn't include the guys who play. We're talking about the guys off the floor. You've been off since last Thursday. So we're looking at over a week that you've been off. Number three, you have people at the All-Star game who you can tell, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm not doing. Because they will run you to death if you allow them. It's not like you don't have say-so on what it is that you want to do. I went to the All-Star game in 2001. I told Shaq, I ain't coming again. I'm not coming again because it's a lot of running around. Now, these guys today have a power of attorney where they can go, yo, I'm not doing that. I am going to do that, but I do need time for this. You have time to do these things, and they do them. So the idea that now—
But you don't think the money has anything to do with it?
One more time.
You don't think the correlation, like you think it's coincidence that the more money that they get, the less that they're doing? You think there's a coincidence to that?
Well, I think that has a lot to do, and not just the money they're making has them doing less. I think that spills over into the game because, again, I have a reputation to protect, and my game isn't my reputation. The other things are my real reputation. That's why I can't really play like I want to play because I might get embarrassed.
Right,
crazy, man. That shit.
But to your point though, Chill, it was KG that said that another reason why it's so important to have vets around you. The fact that they're trying to make the NBA so young is not just about youth, but it's also about control. We all know it's easier to control the youth as far as, you know what I'm saying, when you're giving them something, they think, oh, I'm thank you for this, like you're not working for it. You know what I'm saying? KG was the first person I heard who said that. Your vets will teach you when you go to the All-Star game, you got to say no, and you're allowed to say no. These youngsters, a lot of them don't know that they're allowed to be like, oh, I'm not.
Because they ain't no vets on the team. They the vets.
Yeah, a lot of the youngsters don't know. They don't know that they got control. They got the power. They can be like, I'm going to this. I'm going to this. I'm not going to anything else.
Yeah, I heard
KG was the first person I heard say that, and I didn't really even like me. Obviously, I wouldn't know because I've never been involved in none of that. I wouldn't know that. So when he said that, I'm like, that's a good point.
Did I say 2001 swipe? I meant 2002 when the All-Star game was in Philadelphia. That's what I meant.
You know what All-Star game should have been in 2002, Chill?
In Sacramento. And
no one would have gone.
Man, that 2005 All-Star game in Denver, nothing was like it. Nothing was like it. Y'all had to be there, bro. Y'all had to be there, man. What a time.
The one in 2004 was it 2003 in Atlanta or 2004? That was a good All-Star game. We've had a bunch of different good All-Star games. The one in 2016 up in Toronto.
Chill. The one All-Star game, the 2030 in Seattle. That's about to be crazy.
I'm gonna be there.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys gon' get it started. The player choice way. Yeah, the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.